Hello and welcome to episode 28 of the Little Dynamite Knits podcast. My name is Sarah and I live outside of Philadelphia in Pennsylvania with my husband Brent and our three cats, Gustav, Gracie, and Gertie. And I'm back in Pennsylvania. The last time I recorded a podcast episode, I was in an Airbnb in Seattle, fresh off of Flock Fiber Festival and eagerly awaiting the arrival of my mom so that we could do a couple of touristy days in Seattle. It was her first time there. And then we got on a cruise ship to Alaska with the grocery girls and like 85 other knitters and their partners, siblings. There were some other mother-daughter duos. It was a really, really good group of folks. Today is Friday, August 21st, and I am recording this in hopes of getting this episode up, if not tomorrow on Saturday, by Sunday, before the weekend ends. I am drinking some, I don't know what I'm drinking. It's a single origin from Mexico, and that's all I remember, from one of my favorite Philly coffee roasters, Reanimator. One of the things I missed most while on this, not when we were in Seattle, but once we were on the cruise, aside from Brett and the cats, of course, was really good coffee, made by me. Some might call me a coffee snob. I prefer to call myself a coffee appreciator, a lover of good coffee. So I'm back home with my pseudo pour over machine and my fantastic espresso machine, which I need to put a new filter in, and then I can start using that again. This mug is by Terry. She has a last name, I'm sure. Don't we all? Well, not share. Pots by Terry on Instagram. I will put it below. She is a fantastic ceramic artist, I believe in the Pacific Northwest. She does like pre-order drops occasionally throughout the year. And I got this mason jar like mug that I adore, and it holds the perfect amount of coffee for me. All right, so I've been thinking about how I want to do this video because I took a lot of vlog footage on the cruise. And by that, I mean I held my phone like this instead of like this for social media. So I have a lot of really great footage. We saw some incredible scenery and wildlife. But I did not record myself talking to the camera each day. And I went and watched a few other podcasters travel, like vlogs and tour recaps specifically. Sorry, I'm a little congested today. I might have to pause this and go blow my nose at some point. Maybe I came home with something. I don't know. But Rachel is knitting all of her tour recap videos. And another one is Mackenzie of M to the Third. She does a lot of vlog style videos on her channel. And one of the things I love about how they do them is it's a mix of talking and then footage with music. They both, though, record their talking footage in the midst of their trips. I did not do that. So we're going to improvise. We're going to kind of go back and forth. So I am going to start with Seattle, though, the couple days that I had with Mom there. And for that, I'm just going to put pictures or video up here while I talk about what we did. So Mom got to Seattle on Wednesday morning, and Wednesday was really just a chill day. She had already, done the cross-country flight from Philly. And so we DoorDashed that day. I think we got falafel. And I don't know. I think we watched a movie too. That might have been the night we watched Devil Wears Prada. Because I wanted to watch the new one, and it had been forever since Mom had seen the first one. So we just hung out on Wednesday, and then Thursday, I am going to have to blow my nose. I will be back. Okay, that's better. So on Thursday, we went to, it's called The Mind of a Serial Killer. It was an exhibit in like downtown Seattle. We were really excited. We were thinking it was going to be a lot more about like profiling and oh, my husband's here. Hi, Gustav. I don't think Gustav has made an appearance on the podcast yet. I wish you could hear his purr. Okay, bye. Okay, where the hell was I? Serial killers. Okay, so we went to this exhibit. I think we were both expecting something a little different, maybe like more of a focus on the investigation side of things and how these people were caught. And it did cover that, and there was like the beginning of the exhibit was like set up to look like offices of the FBI, and it did talk about profiling and all of that, but then we proceeded into a series of recreated crime scenes. Some of them more horrific than others. There were a couple that I just had to tell Mom, do not even go in there, because I knew how upset it would make her. There were people. So photo taking and content creation are very heavily encouraged in this exhibit. And there were people who were posing in the various crime scenes in positions that simulated the torture and murder of the victims. And it was very disturbing to see. I just don't think, I don't think photography should be allowed in an exhibit like this. I took one photo. It was in the FBI room at the beginning, and I took a picture of these mugs because it reminded me of Mulder and Scully from the X-Files. And then I don't think I took my phone out the rest of the time. Listen, I watch all the murder shows and documentaries on all the streaming apps. Like, I get it. I am into it. It fascinates me, but this was intense. So if you go to it, that was our experience. And, we didn't like not enjoy it, but we left not feeling great about humanity. Okay. From there, we had lunch at Din Tai Fung, and it was incredible. Friends have told me about this place for a couple years now. There's one not far from where Flock is held. And so my mom is up for anything ethnic. She loves Asian food, Indian, Thai, Vietnamese. Like, she will eat any of those cuisines. And I love that so much about her, among many other things. So we had these sesame noodles. They were spicy, but they were good. We had the most amazing soup dumplings. We had this really great dessert. It was like mango kind of shaved ice situation. Delicious. So highly recommend. It was probably our best meal of the entire trip. In fact, we almost went to a Din Tai Fung in Seattle the last day of our trip before we flew home, but not quite enough time. From there, we took the monorail over to the Space Needle so Mom could see it. And we also went to Mopop, so Museum of Pop Culture, which was fun to do with Mom. We saw Red from Fraggle Rock. Oh my gosh, the Red puppet from Fraggle Rock. I grew up with that show. My mom recorded that show on VHS for us. We just had tapes of Fraggle Rock episodes. So that was a highlight for me. And then from there, what did we do? I think we just went back to the Airbnb, and I don't remember what we had. Maybe that was when we got falafel and we watched a movie. I think we watched Secret Life of Walter Mitty. So the next day, it was Friday, and we checked out of the Airbnb and then took a car to the Pre-Cruise Hotel, which was a Kimpton Monaco in downtown Seattle. We checked into the hotel. Our room was ready, which was awesome. So we dropped off our stuff and then walked down to the waterfront, or maybe we took a car. It doesn't matter. We had lunch at Elliot's Oyster House. So I finally got my oysters that I was craving all week long. And we shared some crab dip that was really good. I think Mom got fish tacos. So that was lovely. From there, we walked to the Gum Wall, Pike Place Market, Piroshki, if you know, you know. And then we were done with humanity. Pike Place Market, if you've been, you know, it is one of the more crowded touristy spots, I would say, not just in Seattle, but the country. But I thought Mom should see it, but we both agreed. About 15 minutes was enough time there. So we headed back to the hotel, and we were like so done that night we had, what was our dinner? We ate our goodies from Piroshki in our hotel room, and I think we went to bed very early. And then, sorry, I'm looking at all my photos because that's helping me actually tell this story in order. The next day was the day we went to Bainbridge Island. So a whole bunch of people from the Grocery Girls group walked down to the ferry terminal, and we took the ferry over to Bainbridge Island, and our first stop was not La Mercerie. La Mercerie was unfortunately closed because they were rectifying a small moth issue, working their butts off to get that taken care of. I think they're reopening this week, so very happy for them. Sad to have missed the store in person because I've seen how beautiful it is in other people's photos, but you know, they had to do what they had to do, and I think they handled it incredibly well. They also gave our group a discount if we wanted to shop online, which was very sweet of them. We did go to the Lamb and Kid, which was so much fun. I've never shopped from the Lamb and Kid, but I did come away with a few goodies. First, I got this skein on their trio base, which is 70% merino, 20% cashmere, 10% nylon, 450 yards. So this is their MCN sock base, but it has 20% cashmere. And they dyed special colorways for the Grocery Girls and the cruise. So this is called Glacier Girls. And I believe I will have enough of this to make Mom a pair of shorty socks and make myself a pair of shorty to mid-length socks. So these will be, this will be for our souvenir socks. Mom also saw a pattern, a sample in the shop called the Shelly Candana, and she loved it. So I let her pick out yarn for that, and it takes a skein of Elmer. So she picked out this colorway, which is called Gertie, which I love because I have a cat named Gertie. And the Elmer base is a heavy fingering / sport, 80% merino, 20% cashmere, 400 yards. So this will be the main color. And then the contrast is done with a mini skein of Birdie, which is their like lace weight fluff. And look at this combination that my mom picked. This like kind of dark, moody, mucky, foresty green. I just think that's going to be really cool together. And then I just couldn't resist this awesome oyster bag charm. It's hand painted. It's from a company called Solar Eclipse. And I just thought it was gorgeous. And now that I'm showing it, I can put it on my purse. Speaking of oysters, I got a new tattoo. There was a block party going on Bainbridge Island, and there were a lot of vendors there, and 2 of them were sharing a booth and doing pop-up flash tattoos. I had told Brent before this trip that I wanted a small, like, souvenir tattoo in this part of my arm because I have other larger tattoos planned for the rest of the space on my arm. And so one of them had an oyster in her flash book. And so that's what I got, my little oyster. It took like 15 minutes total, like active tattooing time. And it barely hurt. Hurt a hell of a lot less than the one on the inside of my wrist. So I will put her business in the show notes because she was awesome. And I love my little oyster souvenir. All right. From there, we just walked around the island. We had lunch at, I think it's Bruciato or Bruciato. Wood-fired pizza was amazing. We also shared a really good Caesar salad. And then we took the ferry back to Seattle. And that night we had dinner in our in the restaurant in our hotel, which was solid, very good, and very convenient. And then it was time to pack up our suitcases. Y'all, the packing I did for this trip, nailed it. And then it was time to go to bed, and the next day go to the cruise ship. But I'm actually going to stop this video, edit what I've done so far, and then we'll talk Alaska and the cruise. So as part of the pre-cruise hotel that we booked, we also got a transfer from the hotel to the terminal to get on the cruise ship. So those of us who were at the hotel all loaded up onto the bus, loaded up our luggage, headed down. Check-in was, I mean, I don't do cruises much at all. I've done one before this one, and after that one, which was also with Mom, we both said we were never taking a cruise again. This one was much better than, it was like a giant carnival cruise in the Caribbean. This was much better. So, but check-in went pretty quickly, and we got on the ship, and our room was ready. Like we just had a lot of luck on this trip. In all areas. So our room was ready. So we did like a quick little room tour. We booked a signature suite. So the room was a little bit bigger. We had our bed, the bed split into 2 twin beds. We had a sofa. We each had a desk area. I think one is more like considered a vanity. One's a desk, whatever. The bathroom was huge. It had a tub with a shower, and it had, oh my God, someone's dog is outside. It looks like a corgi. Okay. Squirrel. Oh my God, it's so cute. Oh, good Lord. What was I saying? Room. The bathtub and the shower. And then there was a standing shower next to that and a double vanity, which felt enormous for a cruise ship bathroom. But the best part was we had I think they call it a veranda. And so because we were in the suite, it was a little bit bigger than a balcony, just like a regular veranda room. So we had 2 lounge chairs with a little table, and then like a little cafe table with chairs. So we made good use of that balcony throughout the trip. After we got into our room, we went to explore the ship for a little bit. Every day they changed the carpet, the rugs in the elevators to tell you what day of the week it is. Which, thank goodness, because I could not keep track of what day it was the whole entire time we were on that ship. And so, of course, I took a video of them every single day. You'll see them all. So we went down to check in to the actual tour, like group with the grocery girls. So I got my swag bag, which I actually have right here. And then we got our badges. So mine had this bluish color indicating that I was a knitting participant. I think Mom's was gray because she was a non-knitting participant. We got these really cool name tags, and they're magnetic. So, and it's a very strong magnet. Oh my. So we did not have to like pin it through, because if you're wearing knits, you don't, want to necessarily stick pins through it. So we had these, every knitter participant had a name tag. And then there were some goodies in the bag. So first was a skein of Spin Cycle dyed in the wool, and this is the colorway that was dyed for the Grocery Girls Alaska cruises. They did one back in May, I think it was, and then this one in August. So I really liked the skein that I got, the way the colors look. I was very pleased with that. And then we got this really cute, like a pencil case with a clear window on each side. And inside here are also some goodies. So there's a luggage tag, which I'm going to put on my luggage because I just have like one of those paper ones from like when you check in at the airport and realize, oh, I should probably put my name and number on my bag somewhere. And that thing is beaten up. So new luggage tag, a spiral cable needle. Can you see the color theme going here? A super fun silver tape measure. That's what these are called. Let's see. There we go. We got some lip balm and a pen. We got some stitch markers. And in here, this is actually a really cute, there we go, that's better. So with the Grocery Girls logo on it. And there's a really cute like commemorative stitch marker in here. It says Cruise Alaska Grocery Girls. So that's super cute. There were some stitch stoppers. These are my favorite kind of stitch stoppers because they are small. I love the really fun ones, but sometimes they're a little too big. And then there was this really cute tag that you can put on a project. So it's the same on both sides. It just has that same Cruise Alaska logo. So I can't wait to make something with some of my souvenir yarn and put this tag on it. So I thought that was a very cute little swag collection. All things that I will actually use, which I really appreciate. Because sometimes you get swag and it's like, okay, I don't know what I'm going to do with this, but this is all very useful and pretty stuff. We also got our schedule of events for the trip. So when our workshops were, when social knitting times were, and I'm going to use this in my photos to help me get through the rest of this video. So after we got all checked in, went back to our room. Our suitcases, I think by that time had been delivered. So we unpacked. Oh my goodness, it was so nice to fully unpack. At that point, I had been traveling for over a week and I started in a hotel near the convention center for Flock. Then I was in the Airbnb. Then we went to the pre-cruise hotel. So by this time I had already like unpacked and packed at 3 other places. So to be able to just completely empty the suitcase and put it in the, we had so much storage, put it in one of the big closet things. We just put my mom's empty suitcase inside my empty suitcase. Like my suitcase was so big it like ate hers. So yeah, so we unpacked and then there was a cocktail reception. So we traveled, all this travel was organized by a travel agency, and the 2 travel agents, Pam and Kathy, actually were on the ship with us the entire time, and they were absolutely lovely. I loved both of them so much, and they really took care of us on that ship. So we had a cocktail reception up in the crow's nest. They were passing around champagne and wine and little appetizers, and then Tracy and Jody welcomed us all to the cruise, and then we all walked down to have dinner in the dining room, and it was just a great way to kick things off. I'm going to do the next day and then I'll put some footage in. So day 2 was the first day of workshops. So we went and had breakfast, I think up in the Lido Market. So now this is Monday. And then I went to my first workshop, which was with Amanda Kafka of the Crafty Jackalope. And this workshop was a needlework workshop. Now I've done a lot of cross stitch, but not like needlework specifically. And this project was to make a small clutch like purse. And so we all got this like plastic canvas like in this shape already, and then got to choose a pattern. There were 3 patterns to choose from. I chose like the middle difficulty one because I loved the design. It was called Alaska Retro Postcard. And oh my, look how good the mountains look in the video. Come on. How cool is this? And then the wolf with the moon. I want to put like some sparkly blingy yarn on that moon. But so now that I've completed the actual needlepoint, now it's just going to fold up and these 2 bits come up and you join. And then there's one of these is the flap. And I don't know which, I guess you can choose which one is which. How cute is that? And then the wolf is on the other side. And then you, wait, hold on. And then you open it up and there's, okay, we're going to figure this out later. Just know that like I had so much fun working on this. It was such a cool workshop. From there, we had social knitting time from 3:30 to 5, and then we had dinner in the dining room again. And in between all that, let me look at my photos. Was that the day? Yeah. I had like an hour of downtime, and I think Mom might have still been in the spa. She booked several spa appointments. She was living her best life on that cruise ship while I was in workshops and social knitting time. I went up to the crow's nest, got myself a very good espresso martini, and did some knitting while watching some whales. It was the first of many whale sightings on the trip. So yeah, it was a really, really good day. Yeah, it was a great day.
That we've seen before. Welcome back. And to all of our new friends, welcome. We're so happy that you've chosen to come to Alaska with us. Here's to an adventure ahead. Here's to the places we're going to see and the stitches we're going to make, the yarn we're going to bring home, and all of the friendships and memories that we'll take with us. So here's to Alaska and to an unforgettable week together. Welcome aboard, everybody, and bon voyage!
Tuesday, August 11th. This day, my workshop was with the Grocery Girls, so with Jody and Tracy. It was their Drab to Fab workshop, all about adding embellishments to your finished knitting. So this was also the day when I just needed a break from like constantly being with people. So I told Mom that morning, she's like, "Are you ready to go to breakfast?" And I said, "No, I need just like an hour by myself before I go to my workshop." And she said, okay. And she went off to breakfast, and I ordered room service and ate it in the room, and it was awesome. I mean, the food was fine, but just the time was awesome. So in that workshop, we learned how to, so we all made, well, if you did your homework, you made a swatch. And then we learned, I think this is called a lazy daisy. And then we did like crochet chain borders and bobbles. And then we learned how to do a picot, I think it's called, crochet border. Oh, I'm giving it away. And then we learned duplicate stitch. I don't know why I always thought duplicate stitch was more involved than it actually is. But it's so easy. And now I want to duplicate stitch everything. They gave us a pattern for a very small heart, and they were talking the group through how to knit the heart. I, of course, am extra and obsessed with dinosaurs. So I did a dinosaur chart in the packet they gave us. And then I did this happy little dinosaur. I will say, good lesson learned. The graph paper, like the boxes were much taller than my stitches are. So I probably should have done 2 vertical stitches for every 1 box. So this is a rather stumpy dinosaur, but I still love him. He's so cute. Okay, after that, we were in Juneau. So this was our first excursion day. So Mom and I booked an excursion to the Mendenhall Glacier. And it was just like a coach ride to the glacier and then like 45 minutes to just hang on your own. So we went to the visitor center and then we walked out. It's called Photo Point. I was able, it was like a half-mile round trip, like a quarter-mile out and then a quarter-mile back, I think. I was able to walk that entire distance without having to sit down because I was in pain. I can't even explain how huge that was for me, this new medication I'm on that's like actually helping me live my life a little bit more. I'll just leave it at that because otherwise I'm going to cry, but it was magical to be able to be on my feet more than I have been in years on this trip. Okay. So that was gorgeous. And we hung out, spent some time just enjoying the view. And then got back on the coach and they took us to this salmon bake restaurant. Very touristy, but we had a great meal. And we ate with Debbie and June, who were 2 of my favorite people that we met on the boat. And they were part of our knitting group. And so we had a great meal. Mom roasted a marshmallow over a campfire, and it was great. And then that night we booked our specialty dining reservation. So we ate in, I think it's called the Pinnacle Grill. It's like there's 2 fancy restaurants on the ship. And normally you would have to pay to reserve dinner in there one night. But we had the have it all package because we wanted Wi-Fi and drinks. So we got a reservation included in that package. I think that's it for that day. Yeah, so let's have some footage. Wednesday, August 12th. I think this was my favorite day of the entire cruise. This was the day that we did our scenic cruising in Glacier Bay. So we entered Endicott Arm and we cruised very slowly to Dawes Glacier. And then the captain completely spun the ship around and we went back the way we came. And so because the captain spins the ship, it gives everyone a chance to see it. So you're not scrambling to go to like running from side to side. And because we had our veranda, we did not go down to the bow. They opened the front of the ship up for this. And we decided, let's just let people have that space. We'll watch from our balcony. Around 10:30 is when I think we got to the glacier. The grocery girls were hosting games from 10 to 12 that day. And I was torn because I wanted to hang out with the group, but I could not pull myself away from this scenery. So I stayed, and Mom and I sat on our balcony for 4 hours enjoying this scenery. And it was such a special time that I got to share with her. At one point, and the weather, every single day of this trip, it was warm, it was sunny, there were barely clouds in the sky. One day there was a heat advisory for, I think it was Ketchikan, a heat advisory in effect for like 80 degrees. I want to live somewhere where 80 degrees is a heat advisory. That would be amazing. So yeah, it was just magical. And the captain actually came over the speaker at one point and urged all of the crew members on board to get to somewhere where they could see the glacier, because he said it was the best viewing day of the entire season. So that was really special. And then I headed down to social knitting with the group from, I think that was like 4 to 6. And Mom and I played Rummy Cub at some point that day up in the crow's nest. And then we had a good dinner. So again, really great day. Friday were both excursion days. So on Thursday, August 13th, we were in Sitka. And then on Friday, August 14th, we were in Ketchikan. So we did not have workshops on either of those days. So on Thursday, we had an early breakfast, and then we got off the ship, I think around 8 a.m., maybe 8:15. And we had an excursion booked called Otters and Raptors and Bears. Oh my. So the first part of the excursion, and when I say we, the mom and me, we were on a boat on the water for 2.5 hours. And during that time, we saw what our captain of that ship called the largest raft of otters I think she had ever seen. There were like 50 of them, we estimated. I love otters so much. And we saw so many of them, and they were so cute. So that was incredible. And then we just started seeing whales. Like, we went out further into the open water and saw so many whales. One of the whales was missing half of its fin, and they told us that whale is named Nemo. They know that whale well. I think someone tracks the whale, and he seems to be doing fine, even though he's missing half of his tail fin. But we just, so many whales. So I went up to the top of the boat that we were on. There was like a viewing deck of sorts. My mom stayed below in the enclosed part of the boat, which still had like windows all around it. But she was feeling a little bit queasy that day on the smaller boat. Both of us were fine on the cruise though. Not a bit of motion sickness, which was incredible. But at one point, I'm just looking out on the open water, watching these whales just be whales and exist in the wild. And Sari Nordland is just standing right next to me on the railing, and I'm watching whales with Sari Nordland in Alaska. How was that my life? It was just one of those, wow. Yeah, it was a great moment. And then from there, we went to the Alaska Raptor Center, which is a rehabilitation and release facility for bald eagles, owls, hawks. I got this really cute sticker there. They are doing amazing work. They are on social media. You can find them on Instagram. Their username is raptor.org, RAPTOR.org. They're also on YouTube as Alaska Raptor Center, and they said they record all their releases and put them on YouTube. So I think I'm going to have a new subscription on YouTube. We got back on the boat. Nope. Then we saw bears. We went to Fortress of the Bear, which Alaska does not have a release policy for bears. So, for example, if cubs are orphaned because the mama bear has been killed somehow, usually because of human conflict, those cubs would have to be euthanized. This place gives them a chance to like live a life, and it is a life in captivity, but it's a life. But they can't release them because there's no legislation, like law in place for that. I think they're hoping to change that eventually, but for now they're just trying to give these bears the best lives they can have. So very cool to visit both of those places. Then we got back on the boat and we had social knitting time from 4 to 6 and played bingo. I love bingo. I did not win, but my new friend Nick, who was my cruise bestie, hi Nick if you're watching, he won bingo. And then Sari Nordland did a talk on her new book, Foundations. And at the end of that, gave away 3 copies of the book, and Nick won a copy of the book. So then he turned to me and he said, okay, here. And he gave me the yarn that he won because he had gotten 2 prizes. So thank you, Nick. I got 2 skeins of Dyed in the Wool in the Playful Pop colorway, which is the Grocery Girls colorway. Like, how awesome is that? Yeah. And then I think I bought something in Sitka, but maybe it was just that sticker of the Raptors. So then we hung out and then we had dinner. Yeah, social time, dinner. And then Mom and I attempted to watch Devil Wears Prada 2, but she fell asleep. We attempted to watch that movie several times on the ship, and she fell asleep each time. I finally actually finished the movie here at home last night. So then Friday, August 14th was another day in port. We were in port from 7 a.m. to 1 p.m. in Ketchikan. And so on this day, Mom and I, we went to a little coffee shop. We went to 2 yarn stores. At the first one, I got this beautiful braid of fiber from Born Fuzzy Boutique. So this is hand dyed in Alaska, 21 micron merino, 4 ounces. The colorway is called Hatcher's Pass. Yes, I basically just bought another version of the same colors I keep buying. So at least I can ply it with something very easily, but it was so pretty. So I got some Alaska dyed fiber. And then we also went to a second yarn shop called Untangled. The first yarn shop, sorry, you're going to hear Velcro. Sorry. The first yarn shop we went to was called Fabulous Fiber Arts and More. And then we went to Untangled Yarn and Fiber. And at that shop, the shop owner was giving away kits. So to make a hat, a little mini bit of yarn, it has sparkle in it, so that will be fun. Mom really liked the colors of this, so I might make the hat and give it to her. But what I'm really excited about is I got a Diz, and I've been looking for a Diz for quite some time. It's a tool for prepping fiber. You can also use it when you're drafting and spinning, and this one is extra special because the shop owner worked with an artist who painted, I think, from a picture of Ketchikan. So not only did I get a Diz, but it is a scene from Ketchikan. And that, I think, is just about the most, other than the tattoo I got, one of the most meaningful souvenirs that I could have found on this trip. We also went to some, touristy shops. So I got my ornament for this trip. Snow globe, Alaska, with the tail fin of the whale. I felt that was very fitting because I saw a lot of tail fins. And I also got some coffee. This is Raven's Brew coffee. This is their Resurrection blend. And I love to buy coffee when I travel. So I got some Alaska roasted coffee, and I have no idea when it was roasted. The poor girl working in the shop, I was like, what's the roast date for this? And she was like, I don't know. We got the shipment like last month. So whatever, it's fine. It's got the vacuum, the seal, so it's probably fine. And then we got back on the ship, and what else did we do? We had social knitting time. Yeah, and then for dinner, we didn't go to the dining room that night. Or was that Thursday night? One night we were just too tired. So I think for dinner that night I had hot dogs. There was a place up on the pool deck called Dive In, and they had really good hot dogs and burgers and milkshakes. So I think that was dinner that night. So that's Thursday and Friday. brings us to Saturday, August 15th, which was the last full day of the cruise. This was the final day of workshops. So I had my third workshop, which was with Sari Nordlund. And during that workshop, she shared with us how she does cables without a cable needle and gave us the pattern for the book club cardigan. And we did the swatch for the cardigan. And I actually finished my swatch in class. And do I have it? I know I do somewhere. Well, you're just going to have to trust me. I knit the swatch. And I really enjoyed it. And now I think I want to make one. But it's worsted weight yarn. And in all the yarn I don't have a sweater quantity of worsted weight yarn for myself. I have DK. I have a hell of a lot of fingering, but I do not have worsted weight yarn. So if I want to make this, I have to buy yarn. More yarn. Maybe I can make it with DK. Make it work. I'm a loose knitter. We'll see. There's actually a knit along happening now. Some of the folks on the cruise have already started their book club cardigans. So now I'm behind. And I'm like, I gotta go. I do love it. It is gorgeous. So that might be in my future. Sari was all of the workshops were great. Amanda, Sari, Jody, and Tracy were also generous with their time and their talent. In addition to the workshops, they did pop-ups during our social knitting times. So one day, Amanda taught, how to do a granny square and attach different colors. Sari did her talk on her book. Jody and Tracy did an afterthought heel demonstration. So it was awesome. And then, because it was our last full day and it was our last social knitting day, we had a farewell reception. So again, drinks were being passed out, little appetizers. I ran around like a maniac trying to take photos with as many people as I could. As a result, most of them are blurry, but you can like see how excited and happy we all were. So I kind of love that. I got to share a special moment with Jody and Tracy, just thanking them for the joy they bring into a lot of our lives. When I watch them, I imagine what it would have been like to grow old and travel with my own sister. She was my very favorite travel partner. We went on so many great trips together. And if she were still here, we'd still be traveling together. I don't think we'd be doing knitting cruises together. My sister was not a knitter. She was one of my favorite people to knit for. Very knit worthy. But we went on some great adventures together. And I wish we still were. I'm going to take a minute. Wouldn't be an episode of my podcast if there weren't tears, now would there? So not going to apologize. But yeah, so I had a special moment with them, thanked them for the week, even though it wasn't over yet. We actually had one more port. We had an evening stop in Victoria, British Columbia, Canada, because legally you can't sail from a U.S. port to another U.S. port past the Canadian port without stopping. I think I got that right. But it was awesome because our travel agents arranged for us to be the first people off the ship. And they were like on it. Like we were all lined up ready to go. And other people were like, what are these people doing? And they were getting in line with us. And Pam and Kathy are like, are you with the grocery girls? Oh, no, gotta get out of line. This is the grocery girls group. And so we were able to get off the ship first. And then there were just cabs waiting. And we all bunched up into cars. Mom and I rode with Jody and a very sweet woman named Yolanda. And we went to Beehive Wool Shop. Yes, Beehive Wool Shop in Victoria. I got this adorable bag because, again, these are my favorite kind of project bags. Just, simple drawstring pouches that I can throw anywhere in anything. So I got one of those. And then I had Jody and Tracy help me pick out yarn for my next pair of sailor slippers. Oh, I forgot to talk about this. Y'all, I won a raffle prize. And earlier in the week, I had told Carol, who was one of our group members, that if my ticket was pooled, I was going to give her my prize. But the final day, when they were giving out raffle prizes, I think they were just trying to not take stuff home because they took everything they had and they made prize bundles. So they called my number and I was like, "Oh, that's me." And I said, "Oh, but where's Carol?" I told Carol she could have my prize. Carol was not there. I think maybe Carol needed a break. Maybe she was in her cabin. Who knows? But so I had to pick out the prize. Had to. Oh, it was so hard. This is a Hohe & Co. Knitting tote. I don't know exactly what this style of bag is called, but it is so good. It has pockets on the outside. It is like the perfect size. It's like a bucket, but this is the color combo that Hohe and the Grocery Girls did together. So if you can actually see that on the label. My mom was sweating this bag. I was like, do you want it? I didn't want to give it away, but she loved it. And I was like, "Do you want it?" And she said, "No, you keep it." I was like, "Okay." So, but also in this bag was a skein of Spin Cycle in Playful Pop and a $75 gift card Canadian to the Crafty Jackalope. So I gave that skein of yarn to Debbie because she had already won one skein of the same yarn. And I thought 2 is better than 1. And I gave the gift card to Carol, but I kept the bag for myself. And in this bag, I have skeins of Drops Snow that I got from the Beehive Wool Shop. So here are the colors. Jody and Tracy helped me pick this palette out. I was like, "Help, please come help me. I need your eyes for color." So my next sailor slippers are going to be in these colors. Oh my gosh. Look at that. How fun is that? So now I will have a third floor pair of sailor slippers and a first floor pair of sailor slippers to just keep in my office. So after that, we got back in cars and we went back to the ship, and I think we just went to bed. And then the next morning, the cruise was basically done. A few spots were open for breakfast, so we went and had breakfast. And then our disembarkation time was like 8:15 to 9. We did port valet, so they came and took our luggage and took it to the airport for us. This is free. I don't know how it's free, but it's free. They check you into your flight. They get your bags to the airport and make sure they get on the plane. And then they deliver your luggage tags and boarding passes to your room the night before disembarkation. And you put your luggage outside your door. So the last day, we booked a small group. I thought it was a private tour. It was a small group tour. It was just us and another couple in a minivan with this guy named Ebby, who drove us all over Seattle. It was supposed to be a 6-hour tour. I think we ended up traveling with Ebby for 7 to 8 hours. We drove around Seattle a little bit. He took us to the Amazon Spheres. Then we went to, I think, a town called Issaquah. They were having this like amazing like circus arts festival. And so we got to see some really cool acts. I got a really good drink from a local coffee vendor. Took us to see it's a Danish artist, and he makes these trolls, or he did. I don't know if this artist is still living, but out of old wood pallets. And so that was just down a little trail from this festival that was happening. We went to Snoqualmie. We went to the falls. I saw them just last summer with Brent, but Mom got to see them. And I was able to walk up to the upper viewing deck, which I couldn't do a year ago with my back. So that was cool. We ate lunch in West Seattle. We had an hour to just do lunch on our own. We went to Gasworks Park, saw the Fremont Troll. We went to Cary Park to see the view. I mean, he drove us all over. And then I gave him $50 and he took us to the airport, which is less than it would have cost to get a Lyft or an Uber. So instead of spending the entire day at the airport, we only had to spend like 4 hours at the airport. And thanks to my Priority Pass membership, we headed to the club and I got to take a shower before we got on our red eye flight. I love a pre-red eye flight shower. And then we got home on Monday and we took mom home to Jersey and then turned around and drove back to Pennsylvania, and I slept for almost the rest of the day. I feel like I finally have adjusted back to East Coast time and just being home and getting into a routine again. Now that I'm home, I have to face the reality of unemployment again and actually start looking for a job. But for now, just still riding high on that trip. And if you have the opportunity to cruise to Alaska, I highly recommend it. If you have the opportunity to do it with the Grocery Girls, it was just so much fun, y'all. They truly were welcoming, loving, and attentive hosts. They shared what excursions they were going on each day with their husbands who were on the trip. And hey, if anyone wants to go on this excursion, this is where we'll be. They ate dinner with different groups of us every night. They had social knitting time for us every day. They hung out with us in port. We weren't just taking classes with them. We were traveling with them. And it was very cool. I'm going to stop talking now because I have no idea how long this video is going to be. Got a little more footage to share. And then I'm going to end the episode there. So thank you if you made it to the end of this video. Thank you for watching. I do have some new subscribers. Thank you to Jody and Tracy for the incredibly kind shout out you gave me on your episode this week. I think I've got some fellow cruisers who are now watching these videos. So if that's you, hello, hope you're doing well. If you enjoyed this and you have not already, I would greatly appreciate it if you could subscribe to this channel. It would help me out a ton. I'm trying to grow this channel, especially now that I am recently unemployed. So anything you can do to help with that would be very much appreciated. Thank you again for being here. I hope you're doing well. Please take care of yourself, continue to take care of each other, and I'll see you next time.
We've made all these new friendships. We took a ridiculous amount of photos. Keep putting those in the photo thread.
Definitely.
I love seeing everybody's memories, and just being able to sit down and share stories with each other is really our favorite part, the human connection. We will leave this week with so many amazing new friends and memories. We can't even thank you enough. We have a special surprise at 5 o'clock. We're all getting matching tattoos. Whale tails. Whale tails.
So I would really just love for us to have an official toast, to raise our glass to Pam and Kathy, to Amanda and Sari, to Alaska and all the beautiful things we did this week, to knitting, to the new friendships, to all the adventures that we had, and the questionable yarn purchases along the way. And really, truly, one hell of a week together, right? It's just been, I think it was amazing. And I hope you guys feel that love too. I mean, it really was just amazing. So I would love to just have a toast to all of you and everything that's happened this week. We are grateful for every moment we got to spend with you from the bottom of our hearts. Thank you so much for being here.
Alaska.
Cheers.
Bye, Mom.